And you know what? De'Aaron Fox and the Kings just had a pretty hideous game on the second night of a back-to-back. I am not going to let that deter me from talking about the reigning Western Conference Player of the Week, because I think De'Aaron Fox has been sensational to start this season. And really, the more he and Sabonis play together, the more their partnership kind of clarifies what both those guys do so well. And for Fox in particular, man, he just turned into an absolute buzzsaw scorer. And what he can do off a handoff, off a pick and roll, backing up to half court, revving up, and just going at guys in ISO, I think it's been a revelation this season. And you can see kind of an MVP level impact in the games he's played and in the games he hasn't for Sacramento. So I think he's absolutely worth highlighting, especially given that we just haven't really gotten to the Kings this season, and in particular to what Fox has done so well.
Yeah, I just love that De'Aaron Fox can be the poster child for staying the course on a young guy.
Totally.
Because there were those crossroads moments for him, even with the Kings, where it was like, man, is this actually ever going to happen for this guy? And, you know, there were people when they got rid of Halliburton that was like, you sure it shouldn't have been De'Aaron Fox that you got rid of? And the Kings stay in the course with him. He's rewarded them with that. And to me, it's not just that he's become such a playmaker. I think he's an emotional leader for what they do out there. For me, it's just, you can just put the ball in his hands and expect great things to happen by itself. Obviously, the partnership with Sabonis has been a godsend for both of their careers, I think, and for Mike Brown, particularly. But just the fact that you can just give him the ball and say, hey, take us home. That he's doing that now, getting to the cup, putting up threes at a ridiculous rate. It's beautiful to see.
So he went into last night's game against the Pelicans tied for first in scoring. He's not that after a dreadful evening for the Sacramento Kings. Shouts to the Pelicans, who've been playing well pretty much since we wrote them off for dead, or at least Waz and I did. But here's Fox's shot diet right now. He is first in the league for field goals attempted. He is tied for fourth in three-pointers attempted at 9 a game. That's Steph Curry levels.
Yeah.
Free throws attempted a game, 9th in the league. And now he's played fewer games. He's only played 8 because of that ankle sprain. So the math is a little funnier than it is for some players who have had like 13 games at this point. But that's star level stuff, Rob.
Yeah. I think him going from a very dangerous mid-range shooter and floater threat who could obviously be fast enough to get to the rim, that's kind of where his profile was. Now he is a genuine bona fide 3-level guy. Not only is he taking a lot of threes, and you might expect, given Sacramento's offense and the way they move the ball, that those threes look like Kevin Huerter's threes or Keegan Murray's threes. They don't. They are pull-ups. He's taken 5 pull-up threes a game. He's hitting 42% of those shots. That's about as many attempts pulling up as your Stephs, as your Dames, as your Jason Tatums. The fact that De'Aaron Fox is turning into that kind of guy, and as you said, Justin, one of the best threats in the league to get to the free throw line, I just don't know what you concede to him at this point. And when you have a guy who's already that fast and who has really some of the best body control in the business in terms of his ability to change speeds, maneuver around bodies, like you think you're in front of him, but I can assure you, you are not. And how you guard that kind of player when he can also pull up and hit at a 40% clip, it's getting into scary hours with De'Aaron Fox.
So the Kings have won 6 in a row. And after they won the 6th game, Mike Brown got on his Doc Rivers and suggested that De'Aaron Fox should be in the MVP race. A little early, I will say, but Waz, do you think like Fox is entering that sort of territory where we need to start talking about him at least in the conversation with those guys?
I mean, I don't think you can describe his play so far this season as anything less than MVP level worthy. He's the primary scorer and distributor for his team. And he's no slouch on defense. Like, this guy is the complete package. And again, I don't think we would think of the talent on the Kings as being overwhelming in any way, shape, or form. It's him. He's the reason why they're a damn good team and a tough out night in and night out. Last night notwithstanding.
I was having a conversation recently about who would you rather have on your team, De'Aaron Fox or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? And the fact that that's even a thought exercise, I think speaks to how Fox has kind of climbed the ladder here, because his peers, his contemporaries used to be more of, the Darius Garlands, maybe the Donovan Mitchells, if you want to put him in that group. I think he is climbing that ladder. And if Fox continues to play like this, he's just like flat one of the best guards in the league.
Yeah. Which makes the trade, I feel like, for Haliburton even more interesting than it already is. Like, I keep thinking about this, and there really isn't much more to add to this, but like, this has to be one of the most interesting, fascinating, important trades of the last decade, and maybe even longer to that when you consider the recent track record for trades is really just star player getting traded for a kit and caboodle of draft picks, right?
I think especially from the perspective of, I don't know that De'Aaron Fox would be in this position doing these exact things if he was still playing with Tyrese Haliburton. And I say that with, clearly someone with thousands of words to say about how great Tyrese Haliburton is. But the idea of balancing two guards is just fundamentally different than running Fox off of these Sabonis handoffs, running him off of that hub action that Sacramento has and does so well. I just think this has been such a godsend for him. And in particular, it allows Fox to be a high impact, incredibly threatening, and also low turnover player. He doesn't have to really stretch himself as a playmaker in a way that if he was a lead guard, even sharing the ball with Haliburton, he might have to be a little bit more. And that really suits him too. Like, he makes smart passes, but he doesn't have to make that many difficult passes. And I just really like the way that trading even a very talented, very effective ball sharing guard for a big who can give Sacramento's offense the structure it needs. I really like the way that has kind of accelerated Fox's game and shaped it and honed it into an even more dangerous direction.
And I just don't think you can expect guys with the makeup of Haliburton and Fox. These are ambitious guys in their games that you would be like, hey, Tyrese Haliburton, use up only 30% of your capabilities on a night in and night out basis. Be paid in accordance with that, and also keep team harmony. Doesn't work like that. Like, just for chemistry purposes, it made sense to separate those two. And the fact that both of them have become all-stars outright, independent of each other, is just a beautiful thing to see for fans. And for fans of those teams and players, and also just them individually.
Rob, you need to write about that trade. That's your next assignment that I'm assigning you. Yeah,
I already wrote about Tyrese Haliburton. What do you want me to do?
It's almost as if Justin Verrier is your editor, Rob.
I want the TikTok of like how this went down. I want to feel the emotions of what happened when they were traded.